Welcome, welcome to Wednesday night. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Cincinnati. My name is Julie Sorel. I'm a licensed practitioner here. Welcome to the second night in the fall series of Renew and Restore, entitled The Big Ten. No, we're not talking about sports. We're talking about the 10 core concepts of religious science. So, before we get started, I'd like to do a quick invocation, and then we're going to stand up and sing. We are grateful to have Audrey here tonight to play for us. So please take a couple deep breaths. Release whatever needs to be released. Let go of your day. Be comfortable. Know that you are safe with us. And we have gigglers in the crowd, and that's good. In this moment, this very God moment, we welcome the presence of the Divine One here in the sanctuary. We know that the Divine is always with us, within us, working through, for, and as us, causing us to achieve what we desire, loving us, embracing us, always with us. And so tonight, that is no different. Spirit is here, and I feel it. And I'm grateful for all of you to be here tonight with us. It was not a coincidence. You're meant to be here just as I am. And that's a wonderful knowingness. So tonight we will sing and we will celebrate God and we will praise God and we will share with each other. I have some things to share with you. I hope you have some things to share with me. And we'll have a good time, and in the process, learn something from each other. So I give thanks for this moment, for this day. I give thanks because I know there is one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, and that life is my life now. And so, together, please say with me, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Let's take a moment to stand and join number one, I'm choosing heaven today.
Song that Audrey and I just realized, since tonight's subject is immortality, which is core concept number 9. Number 9. All right. So my subtitle for this service is immortality, not just wishful thinking. It's the law. How do you like that? I thought that was pretty funny, actually. I mean, we're a nation of laws, right? Judicial laws. We have laws. We are all pretty much law-abiding citizens. Why do we have laws? We have laws so we can protect ourselves and be protected. We have laws so there's not anarchy, I guess. We have laws to make our lives easier and better for each other. I was driving here, and on Kellogg Avenue, I saw a sign with a picture of a bicycle, and it said, "Share the road, it's the law." And I thought, how cute is that? It's the law. I'm coming to talk about law. This is perfect. Besides judicial laws, there are scientific laws, right? I'm not a scientist. I am a religious scientist, but I'm not a scientist, so I'm only going to talk about one, and that's gravity, right? We take gravity for granted. We don't think about gravity. Will it work today? Am I going to wake up in my bed this morning and fly up to the ceiling? No. Am I going to not be able to get off the mattress? No. Gravity works. It's irrefutable. We know that. We know that. Well, the other type of laws, besides judicial and scientific and probably lots of others, are spiritual laws, universal laws, and they are also irrefutable. They have also been proven time and time and time throughout the millennia. Laws like that would be cause and effect. Cause and effect is the big one. The law of attraction, the law of giving and receiving, reciprocity, the law of circulation. There's so many laws that we're familiar with. Tonight we're going to talk about immortality, which is a spiritual practice, a principle, a universal law. Before we get to that, I want to read something to you. It is a poem that was written quite a while ago, and I don't know who wrote it, anonymous author, and some of you have heard this, I'm sure, but I just think this is so cute. And it talks about the 10 core concepts, and I think it's important to know the 10 core concepts. They are guiding principles for our lives. And somebody wrote this, probably a minister or maybe a practitioner, and it's just very clever, so I'm going to read it to you really fast. When you pray, you must remember that everything is all together. God is all and all is one. And this is concept number 1. Concept 2 is easy, you see. The nature of God is actually 3. Spirit, soul, and body, oh bliss. You are the individualized expression of this. The Spirit of God is the Word, the divine creative process you've heard. This is what causes everything to be. So says concept number 3. In concept 4, good is always there. You express acceptance of this through prayer. The law works for you when you believe. Through spiritual mind treatment, you will receive. We embrace all opposites in concept 5. For spirit encompasses everything alive. Freedom or bondage, evil or good, you choose what you want, as everyone should. You are a child of God, says concept 6. Heir to all that is good, really, no tricks. There's plenty of everything to go around. This bounty of spirit will always abound. Reciprocity is the key to universal harmony. Like attracts like. As you sow, you shall reap. Concept 7 is important to keep. Justice without judgment is always there. With true forgiveness, you haven't a care. The eternal now is where you can live if you follow concept 8 and forgive. Immortality, says concept 9, is a universal principle of the divine. Your soul is forever. You continue to grow. The journey's eternal. This you must know. The concept Christ is concept 10, where all is one all over again. The pattern that connects each one of you is the Christ consciousness revealed to you. I added to you because it didn't rhyme if I didn't add it. summary of this is, these concepts 10 are real and true. The infinite good is there for you. Use them well, and your life will be filled with joy, abundance, and harmony. I just love that poem. I wish I wrote it, but I didn't. So, immortality. Ernest Holmes has a lot to say about immortality. If you read the Science of Mind textbook, there's a nice big chapter on that. He also has a small book called Immortality, but I didn't bring that tonight. Most people don't know about that book. It's mostly a lot of affirmations and prayers, and you could probably make them into meditations. So I'm going to read to you a very shortened version of Ernest Holmes' definition and idea about immortality. The universal truth about life is that life never ends. What we call death is simply the changing of one form of life for another. Death, the belief and perception that life must come to an end, is a human concept. As in birth, the invisible becomes visible. So in dying, the visible again becomes invisible. Life continues on another plane when the body has outlived its usefulness. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, and I have something here that I also want to read. This is from a gentleman who I've never heard of, but that's okay. Norman Paulson. He wrote Autobiography of a Yogi. And Mr. Paulson says, I like the name I am that I am because it describes not a personality, but a consciousness that has a twofold nature, male and female, and thatness, the indescribable infinite one. My understanding is thatness is the term that the Hindus use for God, because there is no name for God in that religion. I could be wrong, but I believe that to be the case. Thatness was from the very beginning, before male and female ever appeared. Thatness, the one, became two, and the two became all the rest of us. We return to the divine in the same way. The Father, the Mother, the two go back to the one. This is the experience of immortality. Divine union within us, the purpose of life. Immortality exists. Reincarnation is a dream that we can't prove. But we can prove immortality to ourselves by practicing deep meditation and entering into it while still living in this body. The true experience of immortality is more important than knowing whether we existed before in another place or whether we're going to exist again someplace else. Once we attain the consciousness of immortality, then we know we are going to exist forever. And I think that's true. I mean, we don't die and become immortal. I don't believe that, or eternal. We are immortal and eternal right now. We were before, and we will be again, as we believe in religious science that God is eternal and immortal. There was no beginning to God and no end, and we are made of God, made of all that wonderful God stuff. Then we are eternal and immortal. There's no beginning or end to any of our essences. Even though the physical, the vessel, will expire, the true nature of who I am and who all of you are goes on forever. Because after all, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what we say, isn't it? We're like that iceberg. The tip of the iceberg you see above the water, you see 10%. That's similar to our bodies, our vessels. The iceberg is really under the water. 90% of the iceberg is underwater. And that's how we are. The numbers don't matter. But to say 90% of us is spiritual, is our true nature, I think is quite accurate. Okay, so I want to share something with you. I wasn't sure I was going to do this, because this is very special and personal and sacred to me, but that's never stopped me before. So I I want to share this with you because this is right in line with what we're talking about tonight, immortality. About a month ago, I had this experience. As many of you know, I'm a hospice volunteer, and I no longer give massage, but I am an 11th hour caregiver. And 11th hour caregivers, what we do is we stay with someone who is actively dying. The doctors determine that someone in hospice is going to transition in the next 24, maybe to 72 hours. And some of these people do not have family or friends nearby, or their family or friends, they don't have them at all, or they live in other states. And so hospice's policy that we strongly hold to is that we do not let anybody die alone. And so I was called out on an 11th hour visit, and I took the 10:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. shift because I'm a night owl, and it's a hard shift to fill those hours. And my coordinator said to me, "I got a problem. I don't have anybody to relieve you. Everybody's on vacation. Nobody's answering their phone. I have nobody to relieve you. This has never happened before. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do." And I said, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna take care of it. Don't worry, it's covered. I'm sure everything will be fine. I didn't tell her that I fully intended to stay overnight as long as I needed to, because I couldn't leave this woman, and I knew that at some point Kimberly was going to find me relief. So I didn't tell her because I didn't want to set a precedent, you know. I didn't want her to let her think that Julie does 14-hour shifts or something like that. I'm nice and giving and good, but I'm not that nice and giving and good. Anyway, I'm with this woman, and she's non-responsive, and I'm with her for a couple hours. It's after midnight now. And I noticed that her breathing has changed. It's starting to get less and less. So during the whole time I'm praying with her. Sometimes I sing to them. Sometimes I talk to them. I do a lot of crazy things that, I don't know. Anyway, so her breathing is getting less and less. So I stand up and I'm standing to her left. She's laying in the bed and I'm on her left. She has her left hand on her abdomen under the covers. Her right hand is alongside, her right arm is alongside her body. I put my left hand on her hand through the covers. I put my right hand on her shoulder. So I'm just praying for her and to her and with her. And then I got quiet. And I think I said one of the things I usually say, which is something about, in some way, God, you must know. If you know nothing else, you must know that God loves you more than your imagination could ever inform you. And that you are safe in his embrace. And you always will be. Something along those lines. And so her breathing slowed down, her breathing stopped. And in that second that her last breath, energy came up through the palms of both my hands and out the backs of my hands and shot straight up. And it wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, it wasn't tingly. I'm a Reiki master, I know energy work. I know what energy feels like. This was nothing like that at all. And I couldn't see it, but if I could see it, it would have been golden, and it would have been a straight stream. I swear to you, that's what it felt like, going through my hands. And I was just that had never happened to me before, and so I was just in awe and so grateful and so humbled by this and so shocked that this was happening, really. So I just stood there, and then in the next moment my humanity kicked in and I said, "Oh no, that mustn't have happened." "Oh no, it's late, it's after midnight. I'm tired. I have a vivid imagination. It mustn't have happened. No. And then, thank you, God, something came to me and said, "Oh, baby, that happened." That definitely happened. And it was beautiful, and it was wonderful, and I loved it, and I'm so thankful and so grateful to be in that moment, at the right time. And it was just such a blessing to me. So I wanted to share that with you. And what I would like to read to you really speaks to that, kind of about the moment of death. This is an excerpt from A Year to Live by Stephen Levine. And it talks about death, and it talks about immortality. There is some disagreement about when death actually occurs. Physicians insist that it is when their shiny instruments can no longer discern life's presence. They imagine it departs with the last breath. Others say death begins at conception and does not end until that which noisily hurls itself into birth has realized that which remains silently unborn. Still others claim the moment of death occurs when the heart stops. But the heart never stops. For when it is no longer contained between opposing ventricles, it expands slowly into its inherent vastness without missing a beat, expressing the truth it has embraced for a lifetime. Death, like birth, is not an emergency, but an emergence. Death is akin to a flower opening. It is nearly impossible to tell exactly when the bud starts to become the blossom, or when the seed-laden blossom begins to burst and release its bounty. Those who know the process directly, from experiences shared with the dying, from decades of meditation, from moments of spontaneous grace, from Eucharists of every description, do not speak of death as a single moment, before which you are alive and after which you are not. They refer instead to a point of remembrance in which the holding to life transforms into a letting go into death. It is just a little way into the process, the moment when something is suddenly remembered that it seems impossible to have forgotten. We remember how safe death is. We recall the benefits of being free of the limitations of the body. And we ask ourselves, somewhat incredulously, how could I have forgotten something so important? And what was it again that made me want to stay in a body? Death takes on an entirely new context, doesn't it? At that moment, just before we feel the lightness lifting us from our body, while we are still trying to capture each oxygen molecule just to stay alive another instant, we suddenly remember we are not the body. We never have been. We never will be. Resistance vanishes into a glimpse of our long migrating spirit. We cut the moorings and dive into the ocean of being, expanding from our body, the mind floating free. I do not know if this is the moment of death, but I do know this insight changes everything. No longer holding back, we feel ourselves dissolving, safe and sound, into an increasingly joyous, even youthful sense of heading home. Wow. I love this. I hope you do too. Beautiful. Stephen Levine. So, having said all that, we're going to go into song. So I'd like you all to stay in your seats, because after the song, we're going to go to meditation. have a meditation from the Science of Mind textbook from Ernest Holmes for you. So, everyone, if you're not already comfortable, if your muscles are not already relaxed, let's get them relaxed. So, please just do this on your own, from your feet to your head, or your head to your feet, however you choose to do that. Breathe and just let that tension go. Drop your shoulders. Don't hold anything in your hands. Get your feet comfortable. I'll be quiet here for a moment while you do that. And now, if every body part is not relaxed, if you have not had a chance to address that, please know with me that you are immediately relaxed. Let's invite our bodies to just be still and calm and breathing regularly, and everything feels good. We are going to move into the point of our own consciousness. If we could stand aside and let this one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people and ourselves. This is the highest form of healing. We have gone through many abstract processes of reasoning in our lives and have found out what the law is and how it works. Now we can forget all about the law and know there is nothing but the Word. The law will be working automatically. We must forget everything else and let our word be spoken with a deep inner realization of love, beauty, peace, poise, power, and of the great presence of life at the point of our own consciousness. There is a place in the mentality, in the heights of its greatest realizations, where it throws itself with complete abandonment into the very center of the universe. There is a point in the supreme moment of realization where the individual merges with the universe, but not to the loss of his individuality, where a sense of the oneness of all life so enters his being that there is no sense of otherness. It is here that the mentality performs seeming miracles because there is nothing to hinder the whole from coming through. We can do this only by providing the mental equivalence of life, by dwelling in meditation upon the immensity of life, and the fact that as vast, as immense, as limitless as it is, the whole of it is brought to the point of our own consciousness. As we're about to leave this process, I have several affirmations that I would like you to speak. I will say the line first, and then I would ask that you either repeat it to yourself or softly speak the affirmation. And it will go like this. I, Julie, love myself. And then you will repeat, please, I, in your own name, love myself. So we'll start here. I, Julie, love myself. Good. I, Julie, love life. I, Julie, am totally healed. I, Julie, am the creator of my own reality. I, Julie, am happy and healthy. I, Julie, am in perfect health. I, Julie, am immortal. I, Julie, am a child of God. I, Julie, am the I am. Now, what I would say to you, and I say to my hospice clients, which is, God loves you far beyond your imagination, and you are always safe and sound in its embrace. I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and at the count of 5, I would like you to take a deep breath and open your eyes and feel fresh and wonderful. Starting with the number 1, please notice that your surrounding has turned to the color indigo blue. Next, the number 2, your surrounding has turned to a sky blue color. 3, your surrounding has now turned into a multicolored rainbow. 2, please open your eyes. And we give thanks. We give thanks to Ernest for this meditation. We give thanks for this evening. I recently went to a memorial service last Saturday, actually, for an 18-year-old boy who died October 11th, a good friend of mine's son. And so, as ridiculously horrific as that is, I had a sense that this boy had something else, that God had something else planned for this boy, and that he had so much more to accomplish and do in a different plane of expression. Had a conversation with a woman a couple days after that, who had also attended the service, and we started talking about life and death and immortality and all of that. And we shared with each other what we believed, what our beliefs were about life after life. And I'm going to tell you what I told her and then what she told me, which she didn't agree with me. I can't even believe that. But anyway, I said what I believe about life after life, or life after death, however you want to look at it. I believe that the body dies, the soul or the essence, the spirit, goes on to something else. I don't know what. I don't even have to know. Now, I would like mine to go on to, a 6 foot, 120-pound, blonde, blue-eyed woman. But that's not going to happen. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe it will. That would be nice. But anyway, I was hoping that my soul was going to inhabit something like that. But anyway, so I said that I believe that the soul goes on, and we are reunited with all our loved ones, but we don't really have the same relationship with them. Like, for example, my mother, I'm going to know her when I see her, but I'm not going to necessarily know her as my mother. We're going to have a different dynamic. We're going to love each other, and we're going to know that we know each other, but it's going to be different. Because I really do think that it's time to learn something different from these people. I kind of believe that I believe there's an infinite number of souls, but I do believe that we all have our own little community in each part of the journey. And so that's what I told her, that's what I believe. And she couldn't believe that I believed that. She said, no. What I believe is the body does expire, the soul lives on forever, but we never see any of our loved ones again. And I said, really? That sounds so sad. I said, okay, I honor that, I respect that, you have every right to disagree with me. But that's what she told me, and I just thought that was fascinating, because I just couldn't believe that someone believed something differently than I did. I'm kidding. So, the other little factoid, this is a little factoid that I wanted to share with you, is I don't know if you ever knew or heard of or read Sylvia Browne. She was a psychic for many, many years, right, and wrote many, many books. And she wrote a book on heaven, specifically on heaven, and all how she imagined she believed in a place, more than a concept, I think. And so her belief about heaven's similar to some of the biblical scriptures. My father has many mansions. She kind of took that literally. There was lots of gold houses in her heaven, and everybody had a gold house and stuff. But the thing that she did say, which I thought was so wonderful, she said that when you transition and you go to heaven, all your animal companions that you shared in your life are all lined up in a row, greeting you, ready to greet you. Before your grandma, before your mom. And I thought that was wonderful, because if any of you have animal companions at home, and maybe a spouse or a mom or whatever, who greets you first, right? Is the dog and the cat, right? So I thought that's kind of, not your cats. Well, your cats are mad at you. So, but to me, I just thought that was so cute. I really did. So here is what I propose to all of you. Since I've met one woman who disagrees with me, I'm wondering if there are more of you out there who disagree with me about immortality and life after death or life after life. I would love for somebody to share with us, if you're willing, what is your belief system? I think it's important to think of this and look at this from time to time, because as we get older, our beliefs change, don't they? I know mine have. So, anybody want to share? I know when I told Nancy my belief system, she said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, and I'm entitled to it. It's a spiritual opinion. It's mine." So, anybody want to share with something? Audrey.
It's 4 years now. I lost a friend of mine who was 34. He was a recent ex-boyfriend at the time. And I talked to some mediums in the healing process of that. And it hadn't occurred to me that I would be able to see loved one on the other side. I haven't lost my grandparents. He was the real, I don't remember my grandparents, so I haven't lost my parents. And he's the first real loss for me. I just hadn't known. So, and then I had a karmic healer tell me, when you go, it'll be a blink of an eye for him. But he'll be there. Whatever length of time it takes me to get there, but there is no time.
Right.
I feel his presence regularly, so I'm much more comfortable. I mean, I feel it as heat and vibration, and I recognize usually my right shoulder and things like that. So I love the room for us each to have a personal discovery of that, you know.
Right.
But now, so yeah, I mean, and your story's even like more exciting for me. I would love to connect with my grandparents because I missed them in this life. And so, yeah, that's the book, The Testimony of Light, was really interesting. Do you know that book?
I think we talked about that before, and I meant to get it, and I haven't gotten
But
it yet.
anyway, that's all I had to share, is that now I'm much more open to bumping into the essence of my community in this lifetime. And without any veneers, without any, without being able to hide anything.
Thank you. I mean, that's the reason why I believe that about that I will meet my loved ones, but they will not exactly be my loved ones, is because throughout this life experience, as I can remember, I have met people that I know I knew them somewhere else, but I didn't know them somewhere else. I didn't live in the same state as them. I didn't know them as Brian or whoever, but I just knew them. As soon as I saw them, there was something. I was attracted to them. I felt a love for them. I felt a sense of community with them right away. And how is that? How is that possible? I really do believe that was my basis for why I believe that I will have different relationships after death with my loved ones, but they will still be my same loved ones. So I'm hoping I'm going to be my mother's mom. I'm really hoping for that. Reverend Linda.
I do believe that we meet people on the other side and we know them and they know us, and Holmes says that in the textbook. And I share that with people who I'm supporting through their process of dying. This one person was in the process of dying, and every time I went to see her, which was 2 or 3 times, I would say, "And your loved ones will be there to meet you on the other side." And her daughter-in-law pulls me aside and says, "I'm not real sure she wants to meet her husband." So I changed it to those that you want to meet on the other side will be there to greet you and support you. So you have to be a little careful.
Right. Lesson learned on that one, huh? Yeah.
And I was with a friend who passed away about a year ago. And she was in the final hours and was to the point where she could barely talk. And I'm standing there with her and she looks at me and she says, "I'm not getting any better, am I?" And I looked at her and I said, and I was kind of surprised when it came out of my mouth, I said, "It doesn't look that way." And And she just looked at me, and she literally flipped over in the bed and didn't open her eyes again. At that moment, that was her clue that she could go.
You gave her permission.
And even when her husband and mother came in, she didn't come around for them. She had already said her goodbyes. But she needed that validation.
Wow, that's powerful.
It was,
Anybody else want to share? Lonnie, I want to hear Lonnie's version of this.
Well, you mentioned immortality. That's what we're kind of talking about tonight. And intellectually, I know that we are immortal souls, which means that we were here before this body, even. And I had a cognition after something you said, that when you leave this body and go to heaven, or that place, and you come upon people that you knew prior, like parents, grandparents, or what have you. And then I thought to myself, well, perhaps we have come back in these particular bodies, and we're meeting all the people that we love from some prior time. And here we are again, all together.
Yeah.
So intellectually, I know we're immortal. I know when I leave this body, that's it for this body. But the spirit goes, life goes on forever. Life, yes, and that's really a beautiful thing. And it takes away a lot of worry about, oh God, I don't want to die and this type of thing. So because you know you are forever. Yes.
Good friend who's in failing health, and so every month we get together and we watch old Robin Williams movies because she loved him and I loved him too. And one of the recent ones we watched is the wonderful movie What Dreams May Come.
oh, I love that.
Oh.
And my friend's boyfriend said, here, she has this book and you can borrow it if you want to. It's the book, What Dreams May Come. Now, they took a few liberties with the movie
Right.
to make it more interesting, but the book was dictated to a psychic reader who gathered all this information, and she came to this guy's house and said, hey, are you William Matheson? Because your brother won't leave me alone. And here's this book, and I don't know anything about it. I don't want any money. Here it is. I want him to leave me alone. Bye. So it is the coolest thing, and you guys might want to check it out. You read that?
I would like to read that book. Yes, I've seen the movie.
And it details what happens after you die and what adjustments you go through. And it's like we create our own reality on earth. We create it in heaven too. We go to whatever place we think we're going to go to, that we create, and we progress on through plans. And it's a wonderful, beautiful book that you really might want to
What's the
check
name of it?
out. What Dreams May Come. It's by Richard Matheson.
Beautiful. I would like to read that book. So, I think we're concluding. No one else has anything to
I can
share?
read it, but I won't write that down.
Oh, okay. What dreams may come.
Book. The movie
By-
is Tweet by Hollywood. Richard
Yeah, I would get the
Matheson.
book. The movie,
It was a good movie.
it was, but
The book was good.
I'm sure.
Along the lines of the animals, has anybody, if people know about the Rainbow Bridge?
Oh, sure.
I mean, it says basically what you just said. It's a poem, and when we die, supposedly our animals are at a bridge, playing in the meadows and just having a great old time, and bells go off when humans, the souls reach them, and they look up and see who it is, and they come to greet us.
I love it. I love it. I've had animal companions my whole life, so I have a whole lot of them that I'd like to see again.
And I believe the ones that I've had, my husband is in heaven, and I think the animals that he knows are with him, not on the bridge,
Right,
but they'll both greet me.
right,
In
Right.
whatever form, I'm not sure what that is either.
right. And it doesn't matter. You'll know it when you get there. Right.
With the universe being infinite, and with us being God being infinite and us being part of an infinite God, when we go away, I feel like when we die, I don't know what happens, but I think it's just kind of human-centric to think that whatever happens afterwards is some kind of human-like existence based on an earthly, similar type existence. I think it's probably something that's totally foreign to whatever you might want to
Yeah.
imagine.
Like I said,
Yeah.
6 foot.
I mean, so my thing is, I don't know, right? I don't know, but I just think with an infinite amount of thing, I think we're being kind of human-centric in our, limited in our scope of what.
Right, we're limiting ourselves, but I mean, that's what we're familiar with, being
Right.
human.
So I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't either, but it's fun to kind of play around
Right.
with it and hear what
Yeah.
other people are saying and go, oh yeah, I agree with
Something's
that.
gonna happen, though, 'cause spirit is immortal.
But I've had
Right,
I've
right.
had one experience as far as when you say you think you know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to school in in France, and I went for 2 semesters, and a person that's a really good friend now, came in in the second semester. I saw him, and it was like I recognized him, and we have been friends ever since. And that's the only connection I've ever had like that. And it was like somebody that, I mean, we were like, nowadays he looks different, but like if you saw him then, we were like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
But just
There was just that connection,
that,
that spiritual connection, right?
you know,
Really.
we were immediate friends. And it just so happened we lived in the same suburb.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up, but I have had that, like, recognition of a
Uh-huh.
kindred soul. or
Kindred
whatever.
soul, right. Right, nice, very nice. Twinsy?
Well,
Oh,
you're
that's you.
kindred soul.
That's you, you're twinsy.
This is one of my kindred souls, and I've had 2 others. But what I was gonna share, I asked her if I should, she said sure, why not. I'm just starting to do this, but when I was here at the service 2 Sundays ago and right now, I see auras of all sorts of souls up on the wall.
Mm.
So we're not alone.
No.
Sure.
No, we're never alone. We all know that, right? We're never alone. Great, great. Anybody else, or are we good to go?
And so we prepare not to die, but to live. The thought of death should slip from our consciousness altogether. And when this great event of the soul takes place, it should be beautiful, sublime, a glorious experience. As the eagle, freed from its cage, soars to its native height, so the soul, freed from the home of heavy flesh, will rise and return unto its Father's home, naked and unafraid. When death shall come and the spirit freed shall mount the air and wander afar to the great nowhere, it shall go as it came, freed from sorrow, sin, and shame, and naked and bare through the upper air shall go alone to the great nowhere. Hinder not its onward way, grieve not o'er the form of clay, for the spirit, freed from the clod, shall go alone to meet its God.